David Farrell was there last week. Then the Houston game, I was the only one there.
Nobody gets added.
No way.
It's a very easy travel season. Where the games are, how many of them there are, big cities. It's like getting a little bit, for example.
Nothing makes me laugh more than USC and the Big Ten teams getting all these late games and bitching about it. Like here we are always playing 1:30 noon. Like
Who's bitching about? Was it UCLA?
yeah, USC, UCLA.
And see, the thing is like those two in particular have no right to bitch and complain. You're the reason why you're in this whole mess. You're the reason why the Pac-12 does not exist.
You know, like you understand, there, yeah, but it's a really big check, and it's like, okay, keep going with that. Washington's got to be.
Yeah, I remember like one of the LA schools complaining about kickoff times. I'm like, no, can't do it.
Too bad, so sad. You made your choice, right?
Yep. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Test.
I get that. I get that.
Is this off? It's off.
Mike, let me know when you're good to go in the back. Damien, same. All right, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll start with a quick statement from Coach Brennan, and we'll take questions. Coach.
All right, good to see everybody. Thank you for coming. Obviously, this is a big week for us. There's a ton going on. I'm really excited for Coach Tommy and the men's basketball team today taking on Florida in Las Vegas. I know it's a big game. It's a big game nationally. What a way to start your season with a matchup like that. But I really enjoy that basketball staff. The guys on the team are really good dudes. I'm excited to see them play this season. I think they're going to do big things. For us, the Colorado, game was a good win for us, and we're outside that 24-hour rule, so we are on to Kansas. This is one of those games we're coming into it. We know, because of my relationship with Rob Ianella, who I think a lot of you know, I've been watching Coach Leopold's teams for a long time. I've watched just the incredible run they had at Buffalo. I know our guy Tony was a part of the program there, big-time quarterback back in the day for that staff. But I just had a ton of respect for them. Defensively, they have a great front, really, really physical, run to the ball, a lot of experience there. In the back end, Jalen Todd is an explosive young player for them, really, really good. And offensively, Jalen Daniels is brilliant. Obviously, he's a California kid. We've been watching him play since he was 14. Great player, can do it all, make the throws, effective as a runner. We got a lot of work to do to get prepared for this game. We spent a lot of time, the last few weeks kind of engaging the community, whether that was in community service space or myself and Ben and a handful of players made stops at a bunch of fraternities and sororities. They're very excited about the new tailgate situation that's been set up for them on the mall. So I think we're going to have a great Saturday here in Tucson. I'm excited to see the fans show up for this game. It's homecoming. We've got all kinds of former players and alums coming back for this to create what I hope will be the absolute best environment we've had in Arizona Stadium all season. And so I can't wait to get going. And obviously this is a big game for us. Really, really excited to play.
Thank you, Coach. We'll get started with Justin and Mike.
You mentioned after the game you were really impressed with physicality with the defense. Now looking at the film and looking at that side of the ball, what was most impressive about just how they went about the physicality and creating turnovers?
Well, I think that, I think those things go hand in hand. If you play a physical brand of football, you tend to get the ball, you force more turnovers. And I think that was something coming out of Houston that we didn't feel like was good enough. Just talking to Coach Gonzalez and the defensive staff. And so that was a huge point of emphasis, through the bye and last week during practice. And I think the best part about it was that those players loved it and absolutely attacked it. And I think that's what gave us a chance to play that way.
Michael and Damien.
Braden Locke looked pretty uncomfortable out there on Saturday, which is a little surprising considering how much experience he has. When you're looking at his film or in conversations that you and the coaching staff have had with him, what are you guys looking at? What are you talking about with him?
I think the biggest thing there is that, for us, that's on me because we put him in a really challenging position because I'm saying we're running the ball, right? You put a player in that situation where you're going to be one-dimensional. The object is to get out of the game. The game is over, right? And so you want to give those guys some reps, give them some opportunities to play. You want to give them some opportunities to do some things. But we also didn't give, Braden the full playbook complement out there, right? And so I thought he did a really good job operating. I thought he took a couple shots. He stood in there with toughness. That showed up a lot in the film. And so, I love Braden. And he's an outstanding football player, and he's going to be great when we need him to be.
Damien and then Justin?
Brent, what makes Trey so slippery with those yak?
Spivey? It's fun. After the game, Genesis Smith's mom sent me this picture of Trey and Genesis when they were here on an unofficial visit when they were 14. And it's so cool just to see the relationship continue to grow and just what they mean for each other out there, but each other's biggest fans. I think Trey is a combination of a big, powerful body that also has speed on the back end of it. So his ability to break tackles, to play with physicality, I also think it's his mindset. Every time he catches the ball, he's trying to score. And so it was great to start off that first drive like that with that explosive play where he breaks a tackle and just keeps playing. And it's been fun to see his process of development since he's been here. I think that's been something that's been really clear. I think Coach Wade has done a fantastic job with him. And then you see him continue to just make plays. And he told Coach Daggy after the team, and then he told the offense, after the game, and then he told the offense yesterday in the offensive side of the ball meeting that he is having the most fun he's ever had playing football. And I think that speaks a lot to the experience he's having here at Arizona.
Is that sheer strength, vision? What is the combination of that makes him able to break so many tackles off?
I think every player is different that way, right? Because you're talking about a kid who's 6'3", 200 and whatever pound kid who has speed and power. And so, sometimes those are, that's why you like a big body receiver because, normally the defensive backs are not quite as big. But also, there's also a mentality that he brings with it, right? Because there's lots of guys that have physical tools to break tackles or to make people miss or whatever that is. How Trey Spivey does it is going to be a lot different than how, Chris Hudson does it. You know what I mean? Just with how they're built. But I think Trey absolutely plays to who he is, and you like that kind of mentality and that aggression when the ball's in his hands.
Justin and then Michael.
What did you make of Zach Cialepa getting in the game there towards the end, and just kind of what's the plan for him moving forward?
It was great to see big Zach start to get his feet on the ground. I think that was one of those things for Zach is that he joined us late, as he was working through just his process of getting here and his academic stuff in the summertime. But he's a player that we're really, really excited about. And I think as he gets more comfortable in the scheme and he gets stronger and he gets really kind of in better football shape, you're going to see him be able to have more of an impact on the field.
Michael?
When a player fumbles, as happened a couple times with the running backs in this game, and they come off to the sideline, what are the conversations that you have with the player or Coach Carter has with the player to get them in the right frame of mind to go back out there and not let that happen again?
Well, I think it doesn't matter whatever the mistake is. We are definitely a team that is constantly talking about play the next play. You can't change the past. None of us have a time machine, right? You have to, the best thing you can do for yourself and the best thing you can do for this team is to get the hell over it and play right now. Go get it, play, get over it. And that's hard for young people to do because a lot of times for this generation, right, they're worried about how many people on Twitter are going to tell them that they suck for fumbling the ball. It's a way different world they're growing up in than I am. You know what I mean? They have different outside, circumstances they have to deal with. But, and then obviously we take that part of our game so seriously. And that's one of those things that those guys have to learn from. For Korn, he's never played before. You know what I mean? For Hudson, there was a small detail in that where he could have just hit it and wouldn't have been a problem. You know what I mean? But instead he's trying to make everybody miss, and now you got way more tacklers on top of you. So those are all very much teachable moments, and obviously a huge point of emphasis with us always.
Justin and Damien.
You mentioned when I talked to you after the game, you were excited about the plane ride home. What was just kind of the vibes like getting back, and what was that?
Have you ever been on a plane after a loss?
Never.
Imagine a funeral at 35,000 feet for 5 hours. and you can't get out of it. I mean, it's like the most miserable experience ever. You know what I mean? You know, the opposite side of that coin is, you know, a 2-hour smiles, hugs, high fives, celebration, you know, people jumping on the microphone, singing Bear Down. You know, it was great. You know, we had just a great moment with Deshaun. He asked if he could speak on the microphone, and I said, sure. And he led us in a big-time rendition of Bear Down on the plane before we took off. You know, so it was great. It was great. I think, you know, that was a really big game for us. That team had played really good football at home, and we knew that, you know, going into that game, that was an evenly matched game, right? Two teams, similar records, like all that stuff. And so, you know, to go there and get the win was really important for us, and so that's why that was big.
Damien and then Michael.
Just in hindsight, question to take. After Dalton makes that interception, if he doesn't slow up and attempt the cut, does he score, you think?
I'll tell you this, one thing I tell every ball carrier all the time is to trust their speed. Trust their speed. And so often guys don't, and they end up cutting back, and the pursuit catches up with them. So, you know, like that one, like that's such a hypothetical. Like, do I know? Like, you know, did I do the math to figure out if his velocity, you know, his miles per hour would have been enough to beat the angle of that? I don't know. But I do tell players a lot, trust your speed, just hit it. Just hit it. Stop, you know, because for them, they all are like trying to avoid the first one, but then it just ends up being so much more people in pursuit. And in the situation that way, when he slows down his feet, it makes the tackle easier versus putting speed on that guy trying to make the play.
We'll finish up with Michael and then Justin.
Luke Weissong has definitely brought an element to the punt return game. What do you like about the way that he's attacking those plays?
Yeah, it's great. You know, Luke he's been such a great addition to our football team. You know what I mean? And he's a leader, super high care factor, incredibly hard worker. He's very well respected on the team, and he brings just a toughness and an aggressiveness that, you know, to that position of punt returner and also to the position of wide receiver. And so we love him. And I think, you know, what you see is, you know, I thought we did a great job on that team the other night. You know, I think Coach Niver, I think the players are playing really hard, which is an important part of it, you know, in the kicking game. And then, you know, if you give Luke a little bit of air, he's got the speed and the toughness to go. And so I thought that was a great way to start the night the other night. And I think, you know, like hopefully as we continue to go, you'll see more of that from him.
The goal line package, where you have 7 offensive linemen and you have Big Red. What do you like about that? And when did you guys start to implement something like that?
I think anytime you get down there, everyone's trying to find ways to be creative, trying to find ways to either add gaps or spread the field because you don't have as much vertical space to attack, right? And so just what can you do offensively, adding bodies, adding gaps, right? Motion, movement, shifts, like all that kind of stuff. You know, so I think that was just something that's been a fun thing because it gets more people on the field that don't always get to play down there, so they get a part of it. Hopefully it lends a little bit of physicality to what we're doing down there also. And I think the players are fired up about it. You know, the players are fired up about that package.
All right, thank you, everybody.
All right, bear down.